What's up, y'all? We are back. Today I'm going to be breaking down this social media graphic, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I choose my photos. Let's get right into it. For the ground floor, I just pulled off an image offline. It is basically the same texture, that like topographical texture that we have been using, and it looked cool because of the lighting, and I was like, okay, I need to use this for something. So for this graphic, I decided to use it for the floor. I think I used it for the floor and for some other things and other graphics. As you can see here, I'm just cutting people out. I like to do the remove background tool for my cutouts and then use a hard brush and just kind of paint in and paint out where I need to with a layer mask. Then I put a filter on all my photos, and camera raw filter that is, just to make sure they're looking crispy. And then I just went ahead and did the black and white filter on the Coastal Carolina player because he and his color is not part of the graphic. We don't want teal in our App State graphic. So anyway, as you see, I'm like moving really fast through the cutouts here because everyone knows how to cut out a photo. But let's talk about the photos I used. For this graphic and for a lot of graphics, I like to change it up and really use photos that are going to catch the eye. The photos in the graphic are going to be what makes and breaks graphics. That's why good photographers make great graphic designers. And so I like to use some different styles of poses and looks. And so right here, this is like a graphic highlighting this character. As you can see, I just like added on some lighting to that cut out, and here I'm just making the text in the 3D software. So back to the photos. I have a action shot in-game photo which shows movement. You know, that's one dimension of the athlete. And then we have a uniform shot from the photo shoot, and that is a little bit crispier, cleaner cut, has more detail to it. Really like highlights the player's face. You know, you can find cooler poses, and sometimes I use those, and sometimes I just like to use the ones that show their face really well. And again, that's a high detail shot. The smallest cutouts, you know, ideally they're all high detail. The smallest cutouts don't necessarily need to be, but the top photo or the bigger photos definitely need to be high detail shots. The top photo, as you can see, he's wearing a hat, sunglasses. That's a personality shot right there. I love that shot. It's funny because we almost didn't use it because when I sent it in after I was done with it, they said it's like a baseball hat and sort of a baseball look, and so we don't know if it fits. And my argument was just like, but just look at how much it makes the graphic pop, and it just like shows his personality. Like, you know, you have him in a football uniform, the other two, very football style graphic, but that top photo is just like really high detail, really close into his face. He's got like the sunglasses and the hat that just pop off the background. So I love to use photos like that, especially when you have like a couple different looks. Like, use photos, use poses, different things that are going to make the graphic pop off the page. You want to try and find ways to separate your graphics from other graphic designers. That's just my opinion, I think, because sports graphics can tend to just all look the same. So whatever you can do to like differentiate your look and your team, if you're a graphic designer for a team, I am all for that, and I think this is just one way to do it. Shout out to the photographers who got these photos. I'm sure I have some photos of Milan Tucker, but I don't think any of these are the ones that I took. But yeah, these are some great photos. So as you can see, just kind of breaking down the graphic, I edited the text, just changed the color of it basically. And then I'm using the same background as, I'm using that floor texture on the background as well, just super blurred out and low opacity, which, you know, I didn't super love at the end. I think I would have went a different route. Like looking back now, I think I maybe would have gone a different route, but not too bad. And the bottom just looks very like, you know, kind of fiery and flashy. So I decided to like give a little more motion to it by adding in some sparks overlays. And honestly, I love doing that. Anytime that's been kind of the thing I've been stuck on recently, or just like doing a lot of recently, is adding motion where I can, like throwing in some motion blur, you know, making it look, I guess, in a way like more realistic. And again, it's just one of those things that can separate your graphics from someone else's, is making it, or just giving it a little bit more motion. So like that's motion blur, even making motion graphics. But anytime you can add in something that's just kind of like showing, it almost just makes it look more like a real photo or something. Because, you know, like you have the depth of field of this star right here, and the motion of it like kind of circling through the graphic. Like these stars are supposed to be kind of in motion from behind his shoulder, like towards the front of the graphic. Like the start of a, what is it, Paramount movie or whatever it is with the stars that like circle over the mountain or whatever. Between that and just like the sparks flying and him obviously like running in motion, I think it just adds a lot to the graphic. And yeah, you can do that with Gaussian blur, motion blur. There are different blur filters you can put on things. And so between just like motion and depth of field, I think that can really add a lot to your graphics, as well as obviously the photography like I already talked about. So yeah, I mean, basically just a lot of coloring here. It's really a pretty simple graphic, and then just adding in some blurs, some different lighting stuff like that. Apply image filter. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. This will probably go on the Patreon, so you guys can check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.